Hola, bon dia.
Welcome to our continuing adventure, what it's like to live here in Portugal. I'm Ross,
And I'm Kathleen.
and if you're a first time viewer, thanks for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe, definitely comment. And if you've been with us for a while, thank you very much for your continued support, encouragement, and enthusiasm for finding out more about Portugal and what it's like to either live or visit here.
So we get many questions all the time about how did we do it? How did we move here? What's it like?
Yeah, I mean, uh, for those of you that know us, you probably know that we moved to Portugal sight unseen. We had never stepped foot into this country or into Porto, the city we live in, until February 2022 when we stepped off the plane. That was our first time ever in this country.
Yes, I know that sounds crazy, but this was not the first time we made a big move.
We've done this several times. I would say one of our biggest moves was when we bought the farm in northern Vermont. We spent close to a year searching for the right property. And we did that using what we called our dream board. So each member of the family, our two daughters and ourselves, would find pictures of things that we wanted on this farm. And it would be on our dream board, which was a bulletin board in the apartment we had actually in New Hampshire. And we traveled into Vermont many weekends driving around until we found that farm. And guess what? When we found it, it was like the exact picture of a Christmas card of a
Yeah,
snow-covered 19th century farmhouse
was.
somewhere in the country. It was phenomenal.
Bingo.
So that was our first attempt or our first go at doing a major scouting trip in the United States.
Right. So our next idea
Yeah.
was that France might be the place for us. We really loved the culture and we thought, well, what do you think, honey?
Yeah, we thought, well, let's check it out. So we did two major scouting trips in the same year. This was in 2010. We spent a month in Brittany and the walled city of Dinan, which was amazing. And then we said, well, let's go to the Mediterranean coast and see what that is like. So we spent a month in Nice and explored that area. And it was great. It taught us a lot about what we were looking for. It taught us a lot about what we were desiring for those next steps in our life as far as quality of life, quality of living.
In thinking about France at that time, it seemed really appealing, but the pieces didn't fall into place with ease yet. So we were kind of, what is it about a place that we want something so bad to be the number one? And that had to do with ditching the vehicles.
Yes.
And putting ourselves in a place where we could walk everywhere. We really wanted that. So we thought, okay, so instead of trying to make France work right now, because it was really challenging, what could we do?
So Kathleen started doing a whole bunch of research, and lo and behold, just 2 states over in the state of Maine is this wonderful city called Portland that is on a peninsula, totally walkable. And we arrived there in 2011 and in a rented vehicle. And we lived there for like 8 years and walked everywhere. We didn't own any vehicles. We used car share programs and such, but it was an exceptional training ground for the next step in our lives of moving to Portugal.
Yeah,
Although go
it
ahead.
confirmed that we
Yeah.
really do love walking. It's not just about the exercise. What it's about is connecting with people. Because when you're in a car, you drive past and you don't see much. You're on
Right.
your mission. At least that's the way we looked at it.
Yeah.
But when we were walking, we see people in our neighborhood, and we started making friends that way. And Ross had a job, and I eventually had a job that we walked to, and it was like a way to immerse ourselves into this community.
Yes, so that one of the keys there, and as we explain in some of our informational documents about how do you decide to move here to, in this case, Portugal, is being very clear about what it is you're desiring,
Mm.
and if where you're going is going to handle that.
Mhm.
And that is a really important thing to know
Mhm.
and understand.
While we were in Portland, Maine, we made a decision to experience Europe in a different way. We chose to do the Camino de Santiago de Compostela, arriving in France and walking through the Pyrenees across northern Spain the entire way to westerly to Santiago de Compostela. And that was 800 kilometers, about 500 miles. And we did it in like 41 days, 42 days. And not only did we experience a lot of France, but also a lot of Spain, northern Spain, and Basque country, but the whole world, because the whole world walk this Camino.
Yes. And so it gave us, again, that sense of the community that we were looking for as a place, when we decide on a place to live, we want a very active and accepting community. And that's what we were experiencing on the Camino. And one of the key factors at the end of the Camino is the area called Galicia. And that played into our decision of moving here to Portugal, because northern Portugal has the climate that we were looking for, but it is also overlaps that Galician culture, which we really appreciate and enjoy. And as we all know, life is about change. And if you listen to us very much, you also know it's about adventure. And that's a great way to look at it. So our next adventure before getting here to Portugal was that our daughter and son-in-law, our youngest daughter and son-in-law, asked us to come to California to be live-in grandparents. We dropped everything, moved to California. And then COVID hit. And what was, COVID was crazy. And, it was hardship for everybody.
Yeah.
However, what happened with us is that every night we were sitting at the dinner table talking about what is it if we could live anywhere in the world. And this is our son-in-law. He's from Nicaragua, and he's been all over the world, and he always asks great questions like this. And so we started thinking about it. Where would we like to live? For us, it was somewhere in Europe, because we had talked about France. And then all of a sudden, people started showing up talking about Portugal.
Who knew?
And we had never been there. And it was very intriguing. One of the safest countries in the world, affordable, wonderful health care.
It checked off so many of the boxes we were looking for, and it seemed it was going to be easier to get a visa.
Definitely. So we made the decision, and we had support from our family to head out and try it out. So we made our visa application, and it all worked out. And in February of 2022, like we said, we set foot in Portugal for the first time ever. And it has just been absolutely amazing.
Thinking back, COVID was not very good for many, many people. But for us, it was the start of our next adventure. So it's not like we appreciate COVID,
No.
but really and truly, if it wasn't for that time together, sitting and exploring with our daughter and son-in-law, I don't know
where we'd be.
I don't know who knows where we'd be. Right. In making the decision to start the visa process for Portugal, and to decide that, yes, indeed, we are going for it, we're going to do this, we had lots and lots of help from other people. We saw so many people share their stories on YouTube, And basically, I think it was all YouTube.
Yeah, pretty much.
Uh-huh. And we even paid for some material that helped us and guided us. And we had the most wonderful people, and they're listed below. And the next thing you know, we got that visa, and we're here.
Yeah. And I mean, are there challenges? Definitely, many challenges. But this quality of life that we experience here is so outweighs any hurdles that have come up. And we've gotten over all those. And they will continue to happen because we are learning. We were like infants, toddlers in growing up in a country that we've never been in. So it's a continuous learning process. And there's plenty of help either with the Portuguese people or our expats friends here. But the key is being clear about what it is you want and exploring and doing your research like we did on if this is a great place for you as your next adventure. It doesn't have to be forever.
No.
You'll hear Kathleen say
Yeah.
all the time, what?
What do I say?
Yeah.
Well, doesn't have to be forever. You can do plan B or plan C.
You can make a new decision.
Make a new decision. And, if we were always certain 100% of every decision we made, we'd miss out on a lot of adventures. Really, because, it's always interesting how life kind of maybe turns left or turns right when you thought you were going straight ahead.
Yeah. As Kathleen mentioned, we had a whole lot of help in making our decision to move here to Portugal. We had a few things that we purchased that helped us guide us through filling out our visa, which was well worth it. But then we received tons and tons of free information off of these YouTube channels. We have done the same thing. Go down to the description below. You will find what we call our informational documents. And we just finished updating them, making sure they were accurate and all that. And please take a look. And we always say share freely, because that's how the information gets out there.
Right, right. So there are also two things that are offerings from us that we do charge for. One is you can have an hour video chat with us, and we can help you prepare for that, because we have a few questions that we will email you so that you can get real clear, because sometimes the hour goes quick and you could have your questions, your top priorities answered, and we'd be ready to go. And we also have something really special. It's called the Alegria de Viver experience, and look below for the link to find out about that.
Check it out. I think that's it. That's all we had to cover today. We just want to make sure that people knew that our information was in the description below and available. And as we always say, as we wrap up, remember to like, share, subscribe. Please comment. We'd love to hear your comments.
What adventure are you on today?